Alright, the consensus is it looks like crap, I don't like it, and I don't need to sleep. There you go. We're going to fix it. Probably won't get paid for it, but whatever. Nothing like working for free for your life. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and do a little welding on this thing. First thing you do is get the stuff that gets the work out of the way, so you don't burn it. Okay, this is going to have to be heated up. Call it with a torch, preheating. Gotta see if my welder still works. Looks like we still got some argon left. Find out if my torch is working correctly. I don't remember if it is or isn't. My nozzle got plugged up, so it wasn't water cooling very well. I don't know if it ever unplugged itself or not yet. Find out, I guess. If my hand starts getting hot, it's not working good. So you want to put leathers on so you don't get all burnt, especially up on your neck, up under here. It gets all nice and red. And UV is a bitch. That's what sunburns are, UV. It's not the sun, it's the UV to get you. The light and heat don't bother you, it's the UV. Eventually, you do that enough years, you get cancer. So it's best to cover up. Okay, we need our foot controller here. Now you can't see squat on the damn thing. There you go. So we got a throttle here, foot pedal, to-go pedal. Makes it make noise. Okay. Ground clamp. Here's some welding rod. Here's some welding rod. I don't know if this is hard or soft. It's probably hard. This kind of job you do better with soft. And I got this laying around, so I'm going to use it. Alright, we're on aluminum. Turn the amperage up. And what else we got? All this other crap is on for aluminum. Alright, need some gloves. Gotta wear welding gloves. So these are Kevlar gloves. They burn. These aren't used up quite yet. This side is, so I use the other side. You get two sides of one set of gloves. It's two gloves in one. There you go. Okay, looks like we've got aluminum tip in it. That's always a plus. See, now we're going to do aluminum. Okay, now we got to heat this up with a torch to warm it up. The stuff that burns, you make sure it's out of the way so it doesn't get too hot. Looks like we're almost out of oxygen. Somebody probably used it all up. Don't heat up the pan, heat up the thick aluminum. Heat up both sides of the head also. Try to heat the head equally. Don't turn the valve down for that. Work with it. You gotta stay away from it. In the valve seat. Hold on the head gasket, it does it really good. You want to hit smoking? You put smoke in, reheat it enough. heat the outside of the fins up, but don't burn the powder coat off. Just preheat them a little bit so they won't crack. If you start hearing a bunch of ding, ding, ding noise, you're breaking fins usually. So, smoke a little bit. I could heat it more, but that's enough. I'm not doing heavy welding, I'm just going to do them here. Throw some quick beads in here and call it done. So, I'm going to get a little clamp right there on the steel part. Got good access to get to the head here. It's going to get really bright real quick. I don't know if you can see much with this here. We'll see how it works. Get in and get out. Torch is not fixed. My hand's getting burnt. The welder don't like me. Spitting like crazy. So the lines in here are getting really, really hot because there's no water flowing on through this time. Burning my finger. Finally got hot enough to weld it. Wasn't happy. Alright. So, do the other side. So, just quits burning my fingers. Heat. Cool back off, but it's still warm. It's got real fine brass tubes that go up through here, and they got filled up full of water. When the water went low, all the rust crap in the tank went in there and plugged up the tip up in here, so it's got low flow. So this water line gets really hot. This is a very high performance tip or torch, so it's taking the heat, but it can only do so much. So my little finger's getting burnt from the heat. So I gotta get in there quickly and be done with it. I'm gonna try to do that one again. The problem is the welder doesn't want to weld correctly either. It's got a bad plug on it. These are all problems I have not fixed. They need to be. Let's try to get this one in and done. This one here's just a little one here, so it should go quick. still coming out, so keep it going. The air quits coming out, you pull it away. Quite long enough, it looks like. Alright, that's enough of that. That's nice and hot now. So we'll let that cool off a little bit, and you gotta clean up the welder over here and put everything away. Always put your tools away when you're done with it. You let that run until the torch cools off a little bit. Still pretty hot up here, but the rest of it's cold, so we're all right. We'll live with that. So we wrap up my stuff when I'm done with it. Take all the curls out of everything. Alright, I'm getting nice and hot too. It's still hot tonight. It was 98 or 95, 6 today, whatever the hell it was today. Still cold, still warm right now. So we'll wrap up our torch. Try to get all the twist out of it. Twists are bad. They don't cool very good when they got a bunch of twisters in the hose. It's also hard on the cable, it'll break it eventually. Alright. Don't forget to turn off the gas. Otherwise it gets expensive. Argon is not cheap. Dump the acetylene and oxygen out also. Take the pressure off your regulators, everything lives longer. Alright, now, this is still pretty warm. You can feel the heat coming off it, so I have to put my gloves back on to work on this head. I'll burn myself. So I put our welding gloves back on. So I'm going to try to knock off the high spots here. I don't want to put this in a milling machine and surface it, so I'm going to just grind away as much as I can, try to make it level. We'll do a little bit of sanding to finish it. It's all stuff you can do at home except for the welding part. Unless you have a welder, a big one. Okay, we're going to use the bigger stuff this time. Okay, here's a nice long flat one. See how it's hot. Now you want to stay off the head gasket surface. If you're grinding the gasket surface, you're going to have to surface the head. Be careful. Close enough for that. Now you don't want to do any more across the gasket surface because there's one nick on this and your gasket's done. So we're going to switch over to a different cutter. So we're going to grind it from the chamber side, and we're not going to go anywhere past the gasket surface. So if you do nick into the head, you won't cut into the gasket surface. You'll be in the combustion area, which doesn't really matter. Trying to make it flat, but it doesn't have to be perfect. Just get it close. I want to get down to where I don't have to file too much, but I'll be happy if I file a little bit, but not much. Still higher. Close. All right, that's close enough. I can do this other one here. Same thing. You can see how it looks a little high right here. It might be, might not be. It's hard to tell. It feels like it is a little high. Trying to make the cutter follow the combustion chamber shape, so figure out what the shape is the cutter is going to hold at. You figure out what angle you're going to hold things at. If you can hold the cutter at what the combustion chamber shape is, when you grind it, it'll cut that shape. There, so you can see how you follow the shape of the chamber. So see, I was holding at this angle like this. Just kept going back and forth until you start seeing the grind marks over here where I didn't weld it. That means you're pretty close. So then you look at the surface here and see if it looks like it's straight. You can see it's a little bit high right there still. So we'll come back and lightly hit it. And then we'll call it done. That's all you got to do, get it close. This cutter has a longer surface on it, which makes it more flat. Come by with that. Use our smoothing one to do the finish. All right. Look at this one. I'll come over here and touch this one up a little bit with this one also. It's got a rough casting mark in here from factory I want to get rid of. A little bit higher right there. All right. There you go. We're going to do the fine detail work next, which is your sanding and filing. So here's what it looks like now. So now let's see the radius shape follows that now, because it was more straight there, not radius. So I ground it to radius. There was a big turd, casting turd down there that I took off. And then this over here is all blended. It's hot. Ooh, it burns my finger. So anyway, that's all blended on this side also, so it looks pretty good. So all you do is go hit this with the file and some sandpaper and see how bad it is. Hopefully it's pretty flat. All right, we'll be back. And we got to cool the head off a little bit too.